Good morning and welcome back to Poshcat's Cabin. I'm inside the motorhome, we're on the driveway, and I thought this morning I'd talk to you about a bump and a rattle. We've had our van nearly 3 years now, and for the first year we had a rattle that I just couldn't get rid of. I spoke to the dealer, and they didn't have any idea where it was coming from, but it was from the front cab end of the van. And after some time we listened to it, made a note of it. Each time it happened we tried to track it down, but it came and went, and we just couldn't track it down. So probably you already know that we own a Swift Bolero 2017, and it's based on the Fiat Ducato, which you can see here. I'm standing in the cab just behind the two seats. There's nothing unusual about it. It's got all the usual dashboard down here, steering wheel. I've got a leather a foam cover on it now, actually, on the steering wheel. We've got the reverse camera and so on. Just a normal fitting. There are blind cab blinds that fold out from the side here, and side window blinds. Now they occasionally do kick off a little rattle, but you tend to, to be able to just push the blinds back in, and that will quieten them down. Not normally a problem with those, so we knew that it wasn't the cab blinds right away. Above the cab we have an opening window. Now this is a big opening window as things go. Swift have been very generous with this, and it's got the winding capability here, and you'll see this in the video in a moment when I get in the vehicle. This will wind up and the whole top of the cab opens out to provide ventilation. You can have it open when you're driving. We tend not to. It's so large that you've got these retaining clips on the side to hold the double glazed perspex panel in place, and it's not glass, it's a plastic of sorts. So we wondered whether the noise was coming from that. We've tried all various things, checked all the seals and so on. It wasn't from there. We then knew that we had these fly screen which covers the whole of this window, and then if you continue with pulling it up, there is a blackout blind, which again could have been the problem with the rattle, but our investigations excluded that as the cause. Okay, and then of course there's all of this the plastic trim, and it's made up with several pieces. It goes all the way around the front and over the top of the cab. We have tried persuading that, and that doesn't giving it a thump, that's what I meant, and that doesn't seem to be the cause of the rattle either, or didn't. Now, to describe the rattle, it was a very loud vibration rattle. So thinking the word vibration, let's go outside and see what we've got on the outside of the van that could perhaps cause this. Now you'll see behind me that the van is a typical Fiat Ducato cab, and over the top of the cab there you'll see the Swift logo. Let's take a closer look at that valance along the top of the van. Each coach built motorhome have a slightly different curve just here, or a slightly different shape to that valance on the top there, or that cone on the top there. Some of the over cab of course would be much taller, and there may well be a bed in that section, or cupboards. Ours is fairly flat and streamlined, as you can see. Coming around to the front, you'll see that where the Swift logo is, there's a dark perspex cap which has got the Swift logo on it, and above that, if you see, if I can slightly zoom in, you'll see there is a crease or a gap where it joins the window, and you'll see there are actually two bolt holes there, fixing holes. There's one in the centre of the screen there now, and if I move to the right you'll see the other one just above and to the right of the Swift logo. Now those two fixing positions hold that perspex valance onto the top of the van with clips just above the windscreen. So you push them into the clips in an upward direction at the base or at the top of the windscreen, and then they're bolted at the top. So that's all that holds that on. Now what we're finding was, and what we found on the internet was, in various forums, was that valance was the cause of the rattle. And it's more of a vibration and a hum and almost a buzz. Once you got up to about 50 miles an hour with the right temperature and the right wind speed, you were getting this constant burr or buzz, which was almost so loud you could hardly speak over it. So clearly I had to do something about it. So what about a solution then? Well, there were one or two solutions that owners have tried, and in the chat forums and so on, we got to know a few people that had tried various things, and one of the successful solutions was to run a line of gaffer tape all along this crease here at the top of the windscreen to prevent air going through that gap. And if I turn around again, you'll see at that point there is a gap where the air can get through, particularly on the ends. If I come zoom in on this section here, you'll see that there's a bit bigger gap towards the end. But that gap is where air was running underneath at speed and causing that valance to vibrate. So what did I do? Well, I had to get help from my lovely wife Sue, and what we did, we got up on a step ladder and removed that Swift valance, and I've got a little time-lapse film of us doing that for fun. We removed it and we placed a strip of 22mm, and it's the latex pipe insulation with no pipe in it, so it's collapsible, and we laid and gaffer taped a piece of that pipe insulation along inside and underneath that valance to prevent the vibration from occurring. Now it seems to be when the wind was getting underneath that valance, there was a point of resonance where the vibration would get so loud that you virtually couldn't speak above it. So that now has prevented that wind noise and that vibration from happening. We've done extensive tests, we've been in all weathers and all different conditions, and there's no effect to the van at all in any way. And the last little piece of work I've got to do, and I've been waiting for a dry day, is to fit this little piece of 2mm rubber sheet. Bought that from eBay, under £4 I think it was, including postage. I just need to cut a little shaped piece of that to go up on to the to cover the bolt brackets. That just neaten it up on the top, and I'll show you those now. And you can see in the centre of the screen, that's where the little rubber covers need to be placed, and there's 2 of them. And now to the bump. Well, as you can see, I've moved the van across the drive here into a different position so that I can get down on the near side of the van and show you what little bump I had. Now fortunately nobody got hurt, it wasn't an accident of any kind, didn't need insurance companies involved, it's just simply a little bump, and here's why. As you can see, the side of the motorhome here, and got the passenger's door open for no particular reason, just to demonstrate the van, and the gas bottle box lid is open. I'll just put it in a closed position so that you can see, and then I need 2 hands to open it again. Here it comes. There we are. And the habitation door, which is just like any other habitation door on the side of a motorhome really, but the problem comes, I explained this to 1 or 2 of my friends, when you open the habitation door and you have the gas bottle box door open, look what happens. Bump. And of course when the wind gets behind it, or the dogs want to come out in a hurry and the wife doesn't know that the door is open, or anything, any scenario such as that, there's a likelihood that these 2 here will meet and bump. And that's happened to me a couple of times, a rather sharp bump, and caused just a little bit of cosmetic damage, and a little tiny dent just there on the paintwork. So I've got a cure for that, and this is the cure I found. Now once again, I've been on the eBay, on the internet, and looked around for some sort of rubber sticker or buffer or whatever, and I found out that from 3M Electronics you can buy a strip of these. Look at these, look. Now they're just little like neoprene rubber, I think they're feet that you would put on the bottom of a PC or something like that on your desk, or on the bottom of a monitor on your desk. But they're sticky on the back, and I thought I might just clean that little area on the door and put one of these on and see how we get on. Let's give that a try. Well, as if by magic, that seems to have done the trick. It's covered the damage on the door, and just looks like a covered keyhole now, doesn't it? But if anyone asks, why is it on there? There's your reason. So at least now it's covered. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little rattle and bump and the cure for them, and we'll be back on the next video very, very soon. Bye bye for now.